All right, here we go. All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the December 6th episode of MVP Office Hours. I am Squire Kirshner. I am joined by one of my favorite people in the whole world, Joy Shutters Helbing. Say hi, Joy.
Hi, Joy. Oh, that's me.
And I'm joined by 20 plus other of my favorite people in the whole world. And we are here to make sure that everybody's smiling and a little bit smarter before the day is up. So, just a reminder, going through the normal motions, we meet on the first and third Friday of every month. We can be reached via all of these great LinkedIn hashtags. Probably the best way to reach us is that way. If you have a question, however, please post those in the success community. We do have an email for emergency purposes, but don't use that. Use success because there's lots of super smart people who can't wait to help you, and that's the best place to start in the success community. So we invite everyone to share their experiences, share what they know, share what they've learned, share what they're trying to learn, post your links, post your resources. If you have a question, raise your hand. But there's a couple caveats. If you want to share, you can share, but we are recording. You saw it pop up. If you're going to share something that's private or proprietary, probably shouldn't. If you can't be recorded, we have to ask you to disconnect because we're not going to edit that out. We all are learning a lot about AI, but we're also not allowing AI transcription in the call. We want to protect everybody that's on this call. It's a safe place. Last and most importantly, we're going to have fun. We're going to be informal, but let's keep it professional and make sure anything you say could be said anywhere. So our next meeting is going to be in 2 weeks. That will be the 20th of December, right up before the holiday. So
that's right after World Tour too.
Yeah,
Chicago. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's busy for me. The rest of you, I don't know. You're all not in Chicago.
I'll be there.
Are you really, Squire? That's so exciting. Yay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have some fun.
We'll talk more. I got plans for you.
Oh, okay. You heard it. It's recorded.
I know.
All right. Upcoming, there's always get a little bit of a lag right over the holidays. So we've got a couple events happening right now and in the next week and a half. And then January is where everything picks up for the most part. Japan Dreaming, Architect Dreaming, and Cactus Force are all in January. The Dallas World Tour is next Monday, Tuesday.
That like next week, the 10th. It's in 5 days, 4 days.
Yeah.
Barb knows. Barb is right there.
Yep. And then Atlanta and Chicago coming up. As Joy and I said, we're going to be at Chicago. If you're going to make it, please reach out. Let us know. We'll try to meet everybody in person as best we can.
And Toronto's next Thursday.
Oh,
fantastic. Oh, it's a big week.
Yeah, we're finally getting one back. We're excited. Yay!
It's fantastic.
Cool.
I like it.
And just a reminder, the events are available on Trailhead and Salesforce/events, as well as through the Trailhead link. And anything that you may know about that we missed, now would be a great time to raise your hand and let us know so we can call it out.
We got Andrew telling us that Agent Force 2.0 is on the 17th. And yeah, Chicago in December is cool, David. Absolutely. So, hey, Andrew, if you have the links for that Agent Force thing, you can toss that in the chat. That'd be great. And then we have a couple questions lined up already. So, Squire, we want to hit the next slide?
Yeah, and there are the normal helpful slides about AI resources, the World Tour, certification links, all that stuff is available in the slide deck and is posted after the calls, including the Resource Hall of Fame. We haven't added anything to this in quite a while. Feel free to, if there's something you think is important that needs to be added to our list of important or not so important things, shout them out. We'll make sure we get them added. And with that, we are on to the open call. And since, as we said, I don't think I saw.
Hi, Linda.
Quick. I don't think I saw Marilyn in the call, so we'll skip over that. If she joins, we can circle back to it. So, who are we going to get started off with?
In the chat, we had, David checking on my caffeine intake. Sarah is looking to brainstorm some questions for better ways of turning inputs on a flow screen into a collection. And then Nate has a question. So Sarah, then Nate is what we have going on. Go, Sarah.
This is sort of just picking the brain trust about how would you do this? Because I haven't really figured out a satisfactory way to me yet. I'm sure there's probably a clever way that I'm not thinking of. So let me share my flow so we can take a look at it. Hopefully you see that now. So
Oh,
what
sorry.
this flow is basically doing is we have a bunch of scholarship funds and we make allotments where we relate the scholarship fund to a scholarship application via a junction object that's called an allotment. So my users have requested a screen where they can enter amounts for the different funds and then have allotments created for it. So something like this screen here, where there's a whole bunch of entries, right? And each of these is a fund, and they want to put in this amount, and this is on like the person's application screen. This screen would show up and it'd say for each fund, allot this amount, allot that amount, blah 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 blah. There's a whole bunch of ways you could do this. This isn't maybe the best way of doing it, but I want to see if I can do it this way because that's what the users would like to do. So let's just start from there. Yes, there's better ways we could do this, but presuming if we have these screens that have all these inputs, and maybe the answer is like, just scrap this idea, but how do we take the entries from these? And then basically what I want to do is kind of loop through them and add them to an allotment object, right? And create a record, a collection of allotments that have these amounts with these funds related to this application. And so like, so far what I've thought of is I have these two loops. Basically you get all the funds and then loop through the funds. And for each fund, create basically a placeholder allotment, where you'd say, okay, it's this fund, it's this application. There's like a fund code and a lookup. So that's why it's listed here twice, but basically it's this fund and it's this application, and we'll leave the amount blank for now. We add those to a collection, generate a list of the funds so that I can use them for conditional visibility of those, the inputs. So like if there isn't a fund with remaining balance, it won't show up here because it'll be not in the fund list, which is kind of nice. That's sort of an aside. And then after they've entered all of them, we could go through those placeholder allotments, assign the amount using a formula that looks to, I haven't done it out for all the funds yet because there's 25 of them, which is the other part. Like part of this is like, how do you scale this? How do you maintain this? But the amount would be like, if the code is scholarship, take the input from that currency field. If it's work, take it from the work currency input, et cetera, et cetera. So this is like a formula that would assign the amount based off of the values inputted here. So you would loop through the allotments, and then I would filter out any that are 0 and only create the ones that have them. This is less than ideal, I think. There's got to be a better way to do this. I played around some with like Apex defined variables and transform and all of that, but I just sort of was like, hey, what do you all think?
So I think we had
discussion.
some hands pop up.
Great.
David and Andrew both popped their hands up, I think.
Who's first? I don't know. I wasn't
saw-
paying attention to that.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
I was originally thinking of the new thing that came out last
Repeater.
release for choices, but that won't work with the amount. Sarah, what platform are you on? Is it just standard Salesforce, or are you running off of NPSP or ED or EDA or what?
It's a NPSP.
Okay, so you're in NPSP.
Why not just a data table? If you're going to stage the records and put blank ones, stage blank records, put a data table that's editable using unofficial SF data table. Then they'll have the name of whatever like the funds are. And on the right, it'll be a column of probably all blank. And they can put in the value for whichever ones. Then after that, filter it out. If you do a data table, you can have reactivity to like sum all of the ones at the bottom. You could sum like the amount that they've entered in before they even move to the next page. You could like have it with the reactive screen flows. I literally just built a discount calculator for the last 2 days. And I did like a bunch of weird stuff with that.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too, in terms of a data table. I'm not sure how.
It's infinitely scalable because it just is based off your
Yeah.
records that you're going to have it put in there, which is filter based. You don't have to modify the flow every time you get a new
Yeah, that's
one.
nice.
Yeah,
You
and
should-
you
I think-
just have one collection variable as I was going through, as you were looking through everything.
Mhm.
I was just thinking you're just making it more complicated than it needs to be. Try
Yeah.
to
I would-
simplify it.
I would just put a data table on that screen where you have all of the ones, because anytime that you're making like a field like that for something that you know is going to grow, it's just kind of like, think about how many times you have to edit it every time there's a new one. You'd
Yeah,
rather
no,
just
I
make the new
don't wanna do
fund
that.
record. Yeah,
So in that case, I think what I got stuck on before with using the data table is I was like, I'd still have to make the placeholder allotments and then filter those after they'd filled them out. Or
Yeah,
just
but
use
you
the
can-
edited output from the data table.
you just use the edited output from the data table, and that would be the filtered ones. And then you could even
Mhm.
just pop that into like the collection filter to remove any zero in case they edited it, but they put it as zero. You
Mhm.
could then filter it just one last time. And
Yeah.
you could also make sure they don't put too much with the summing it in real time. And you could like hide the next button if they've
Right.
put too
Yeah,
much
that's a good
money.
idea. That's a good idea.
And you could have like
That's
an
a-
amount remaining too. Would be cool.
Cool.
So okay, so I love the ideas. I do have a question because we do something very similar for one of our financial team.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge is that from the UI perspective, the data table, there's like users just hate that Excel look. And I was immediately impressed by like just the multiple fields. It's just hard to handle all those individual fields and like walk through it, right?
Yep.
Especially on the idea of like as you enter them, they become uneditable or disappear from the page. Like that custom UI is nice too. You don't have to keep iterating.
Mm-hmm.
Having said all that, didn't Michael show us some tool? Help me remember. A couple weeks ago, he showed us something that helped build like this gigantic table out that looked a little bit like what you were doing. Was it App Exchange?
Michael Klodner.
Yeah.
Right.
It was a data table.
That it wasn't a data table that he was showing us.
I think it was probably
It was
just
a big
sections. He was just doing sections with fields.
Mm.
What
With a
was
bunch
that?
of
It
display
was on the
tabs.
App Exchange, right?
No, I don't think so.
The one I'm talking about is what I'm suggesting. Without any details, I'm not being very helpful. I apologize.
It's okay.
But so the other thing I was going to ask is, is there an opportunity for you to do something like pre-build the collection with like say a custom metadata table? So that gives you the growth that you were talking about, the scalability of like, oh, when I need like fund 5,
Mm-hmm.
now I just add a new custom metadata type, and then at my first get creates that collection of these records. Then you could use a repeater or something, but have the flexibility of new fund without having to rebuild the flow. And then you can just iterate back through. Does that save any more time, or is it basically the exact same solution?
I think it's similar to the data table idea. I remembered now that one of the reasons data table's great, and I think it's fine. It does add one step of like having to like, I think, click into them to edit as opposed to just having these fields where they can put numbers in, but I think that's fine. They can handle that. It won't be so
Okay.
hard for them. I'm not sure the metadata gets like the thing that would be annoying about this, right, is like every time we added a new fund, you'd have to add a new input onto this field, and that I don't think you can get it around that with anything else because you can't like dynamically yet
Right.
generate screens on your flow.
The only thing would be like the repeater element. Like there's
Yeah.
two things. Like if you and I haven't played with the repeater because I don't know, haven't found a use case of it. But like repeater or a data table, you're gonna have to have a table that can grow or repeater. You can't use individual fields that you're just.
Yeah. Yeah, I showed them the
Yeah.
repeater and they're like, that's okay, but we don't like having to select the fund and everything each time. And I was like, fine.
But you could pre-populate it with all the funds and just have the data fields, right?
I suppose so.
Right? Because
And
if
the
you send the
repeater- well,
collection
that-
into it, then it'll build out based
Oh.
on the collection.
In the repeater. I haven't
Yeah.
played with that yet. It's a good idea. Maybe
That
I'll
was
give
new,
that
I
a
think,
try.
right? Didn't it just come out that now you could pre-populate the repeater collection?
Maybe I'll
I
play
think
with
you
that.
can put an input, but you might have like I don't know if you can go wide, like have it as cards. You might
Yeah,
end
no,
up
you
with
could
just
do
a really tall list
Yeah.
that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you can go wide. I think you're right, Andrew.
It's Salesforce. You don't get everything perfect. You get something that you can make work. So I think it sounds like a data table works.
Yeah.
No.
And if you
This
want a
is
different platform, code.
what I was playing around with for updating. So like this would have the current allotments displayed to them, and then they could edit it and when they open up this fields. This one's easier because you just take the collection of current ones from your get and then update the values based off of what's in here. But yeah, I'll play around with that. That's certainly an option. I was really
get stuck-
hoping here, I want to show you quickly if we still have some time, show you a different version where I was
Sarah,
playing
is the requirement that it has to be on platform?
Yes, we currently have an off-platform way of doing it, and we want to move it onto Salesforce if we can. So
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
yeah, ideally.
Christy dropped a note in the chat about the repeater. Does that make sense? If it starts from another flow to this flow, it doesn't work. All the things.
I'm not sure on that. Repeater is just basically how to do a bulk API through a GUI. So
we ran into this issue in our client's org where they're clicking it to do a pickup because it's a shipping company from both the contact page or the case page, whatever. And because of that, the repeater is not assigning the values. So we had to change where we're inputting it. It's kind of a crazy thing that we found it was a known issue.
I was gonna try to show. I was doing a different, like one avenue of this was trying to use a Apex defined variable so that like you could have each row would have all the funds as the columns in the data table. But I didn't get very far with that either. So, and I didn't actually set that up to show because I had sort of abandoned that idea. So I'm not going to actually go into it right now, but that was an idea I had. I don't know if anybody's.
I mean,
played
if you're going to write
Apex.
Apex, you might as well just pass all the variables into it and the Apex do the work for you. I mean, you're not getting
Probably, yeah.
anything out of it, right?
Yep.
And you get a lot more functionality out of the upsert. You can just pass all of your fields at
Right.
the Apex call out, or not call out, but Apex instantiation, and then just
Right. So we could just have that input fields and then have write a little Apex invocable action that does all the work for us.
Yep.
Okay. That's
Then you
another
get the fun
idea.
UI, but you let somebody else deal with that the headache of the upsert.
Yeah, totally. All right. Well, thanks for your ideas. I feel we'll see what I end up doing.
Don't write Apex. Do something else.
But I like to flex those new muscles. that we're
No, you're
building.
right. You're right.
Right? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right. So Nate is who we've got next. Nate. Are you still on, Nate?
Well,
Where do I-
I'm here.
There you are. I was like looking. I'm like, too much caffeine already. It's all right. 100 milligrams went fast. What you got?
So we're building out this is kind of like a phased approach, right? So slowly migrating over to Experience Cloud. And in the meantime, I have my engineering team that has people like sending emails to sales, and sales is like, this is beyond my realm of understanding. I need to forward it over to engineering. In that workflow, right now we have Zendesk, and we're migrating over to just standard case object and eventually Experience Cloud. What we did for phase one is just simple email to case, just to have something, right? And it's working, it's fine, but now they're kind of changing the scope a little bit, and they're saying, oh, well, it'd be really cool if they could upload files too. And I'm like, well, okay, I get it, that makes sense. So in order to do that, I'm assuming I need to, build an Experience Cloud site for guest users and then have them have the ability to upload files. So my question is, what are the security implications of allowing a guest user to upload a file? Like, is there something that I need to be worried about? Like chances are, nothing bad is going to happen. Nobody's going to be nefarious or anything like that, but it's still the internet. So,
But can they attach files in the emails?
Up to 35 megs now. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, just do web to case.
Mhm.
wait, so
Web
in
to case
In the,
doesn't have
no, in the email, the
attachments.
Email
Or
the
Yeah,
case.
email the case, I'm
email
sorry,
the
attachments.
email the case, I'm sorry.
you just
email
attach
the
a
case.
file.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so an email to case, that's like a separate, like, so we're doing both, right? So like the email to case is a thing, but we're also doing web to case, and the web to case is working, but the web to case is just, the bare bones
Mhm.
functionality. It doesn't have, like, to my knowledge, it doesn't have the ability to upload files.
So you're doing web to case in lieu of the Experience Cloud site for the time
Yeah,
being.
for now, yes.
Okay. Well, the easiest answer is don't accept files on the web form until we get the Experience Cloud site, right? Because
Right.
web to case is very old, and it's very easy to actually miss your customer service. So if there's an issue somewhere, you just don't know, right? It fails very, very quietly because there's nothing to actually alert you. Hey, we didn't get that, right? It's like not receiving a letter. You just don't get it, right? So that it's a bit of a risky thing in general. And I think adding the complexity necessary to allow it to receive a file is going to increase the probability that you experience that type of failure. So I don't think web to case, can you do something to allow an attachment? Not worth don't go down that road with that technology.
Okay.
Now,
So
from the security stance of it, like, could I very quickly spin up an unauthenticated Experience Cloud site, stick a flow on it that allows creating a case through whatever you want? Flow's pretty flexible there. Accepting a file, sure, flow's pretty flexible there. The real risk comes in how you set up your data access for your external site. Straight down the board, everything's externally private, right? That's gonna get you in a good starting spot. And then your guest site user does need some access. Your guest site user is gonna need the ability to accept files and attachments. And then somebody who's better with Service Cloud can keep me honest here, but I'm pretty sure there's a checkbox somewhere in your support settings that you have to check to allow an attachment or a file from a guest site user. I think you have to check that box and make that true. But is there really a risk? No, because when we think about data access, Salesforce splits this into 4 different buckets. Can you create it? Can you read it? Can you delete it? And can you edit it? Well, you're going to give the guest site user create. That's all you can do. All you can do is deliver something to me. You don't have the ability to query. And so because of that, as long as you don't make it risky, you're going to be okay. Now, can you make it risky? Yes. Don't do that.
Okay. So I guess the solution is, for right now, we're just gonna do the web to case, leave it alone. Sorry, you cannot create a file. And then once we migrate to Experience Cloud, then we can fix it with flow and guest user access and all that jazz.
Yeah, if you showed up to my consulting company and said, I want this web to case to do this, I would say no.
Fair enough.
I would say I will not take your money to build that.
Sure. Yeah, because
So-
it's so old that it's just kind of like a legacy thing that it would be too risky to.
If it fails, you'll never know.
Yeah. Okay.
And
And
so
for-
your customer's experience is going to be very poor.
Linda,
And for the web to case, you're sending an email, right? Afterwards to say, hey, we got your case.
Just
Yep.
let them reply.
They can reply to that email with the file as an attachment and you're done.
Oh, yeah. Fair enough. Okay, cool.
That's
Okay.
the thing. If you want to, you just put a text like by it that says if you want, just reply to the email with the attachment if you want one. Like,
Oh, yeah,
or
perfect,
you just
okay.
put in
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
first
Yep.
response email.
Yep.
Like that was exactly what I was
Yeah.
ready to say when I was like, easy. But one thing, just so you know, if you wanted to go down the path, I did it in our org, is we pretty much have a Lightning Web runtime site that has, it's the only thing on it is a flow, and it takes in the record ID and the URL, so we can send customers a file upload form, and we can send it by text or by email, and they can click the link. It has a case ID, and then it's got like on it, it's the file upload improved. Literally the flow I'm looking at, it has two things. It's was an ID passed in as the first element, yes or no. If no, error screen. If yes, there's another screen that's the file upload, and it just has that component on it. And that's it.
Nice.
Like
Okay.
you could do something like that if you wanted to be able to send them a link to upload. But like that's more after the fact.
Yeah, right.
Generally.
I think the solution for now is like in the auto reply email, just like, hey, send me your files if you need to send me the files until we get the Experience Cloud site, and then the file upload and through sounds like the right way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I like it.
Thanks, everybody.
Yes, Sarah.
I have
I
a
see you
follow-up,
in
which is-
video raising your hand.
Yeah, yeah, I guess I should use the actual hand, whatever.
Me.
No, this is one of those follow-ups of like, I wonder why I never thought of this before, and perhaps it's one of those there are no stupid questions. But what happens if somebody uploads a malicious file to Salesforce?
Salesforce accepts a malicious file.
What do you
And
think
like
happens?
nothing. Well, but like if it's sitting in the cloud, it doesn't like nothing bad happens until you download it
So-
to your computer.
No,
right?
it can.
So it
Okay.
can, and you can. So I've experienced this before where
Yeah.
Salesforce has emailed me and said, hey, by the way, we found this malicious file got through, go in and delete it.
Okay.
And I've had
Yeah.
like our security reach out internally and say, hey, we found this malicious file in your from our scans. It's really, or we got an email and we finally found that it was malicious. We had to dig deep to find that.
Yeah, because it's like sitting on the servers until
Mhm.
there's like. gonna
But
be a
it's still
problem.
just a blob of the file. You'd have to like run it and activate it to make it do anything.
But
I mean, you'd still see it as waiting to happen.
Right. But,
But
it's
it
still a
does get
potential.
processed during the upload. So there is risk of if somebody uploads a file that has something malicious as it's going through Apex, depending on, this would be a massive thing if it happens, like that would impact everybody. But if you had the ability to put a malicious string that's essentially in a file, when it's processed by Apex, you could, in theory, if there's a gap in Salesforce, escape out without just by the act of uploading it. Like you might not have to run it. Like it would be a massive security breach, but I'm pretty sure that there has been, like, people used to attack printers like that. You could send a malicious file when printers have email to print. You could send malicious files to that printer's email address, and then you could actually have it run it, and it would execute it. And it means there's a vulnerability, but like can be a thing.
But the printer is going to receive this base 64 encoded entity and then need to open it.
Correct.
Right.
But Salesforce does inspect what it gets in. Salesforce does to go store it.
Right. But
make a preview.
Looking at, and not all things are previewable, right? But looking at the entity as it has been passed is different than opening it.
Right. Because otherwise, I mean, I would find it hard to believe that the billions of users and access points to Salesforce, that was a vulnerability. So that you got to be handling
wait a
that
minute,
somehow.
there's got to be something here. No, I never thought of that before.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would assume that, Salesforce would build some, guardrails, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there aren't people trying to poke at that sort of stuff, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm
Well,
sure.
there actively are, right? There definitively are.
Right.
And Salesforce is one of them, right? Like Salesforce attacks itself on a fairly regular basis. There's a team of people all around the world trying to break in to ensure that the rest of us are as safe as we can be. And even with your flow, when you get to Experience and you're actually accepting things on an Experience Cloud site, I mean, one of the things that I would always recommend is that you limit by file type what you're receiving. That's not going to protect you, but it does reduce the ease that somebody can hurt you.
Yeah,
Right.
so like it would filter just, PDF and JPEG or something like that, right?
Right. Like what if you're looking for Word docs, say you can pass over .doc or .docx, that's what we accept. If you try to pass a JPEG, if you try to pass a PDF, we're not taking PDFs. This is what we
Sure.
take. And that does a lot to insulate you, but nothing's perfect. And
Right.
the biggest risk to your platform, if you design it with the security standards we're aware of today, right? You just follow good best practices. The biggest risk is going to be your users on your platform.
Yeah. Cool.
I like it. I like it. All right, Nate, you good? You good with like your next week or two of work?
Got to get that done before Christmas break. So yeah,
I get to tell them no.
Right.
and then just to modify the.
You're gonna
auto
tell
slide.
them yes, but you gotta wait.
Yeah. Right. That's true. Yeah, I gotta work on that.
All right, cool. So we don't have any other questions in the chat. I don't believe this. Y'all are like just gonna coast your way through the rest of the year. Like you're not gonna do anything exciting. Pat is thinking about a question. Maybe no. So I made the wild.
Hey,
What? Yeah, tell me.
I was looking, I clicked on something and got this.
You clicked on something and got what?
I got this little page that talks about Joy, Dale, and Squire.
That's us.
Well, I found a typo in there, so.
Oh,
fantastic. Is that like our registration page is a typo?
Yeah, there's just a small one in Squire's
Bio.
Yeah.
Oh, it's probably time to update those, Squire. I mean, we can work on that in the next
I didn't even
couple
know I
weeks.
had one. So cool.
You did. It was really painful. Remember, I didn't want to write mine, and we had to write those. And Dale's like, just write the things, and we did.
It might have been something Joy wrote for you, Squire.
Oh
I was
yeah,
gonna say you
probably.
didn't write each other's. That's the best way to do that.
Yeah, blame it on Joy. Always blame it on Joy.
No, I'm actually gonna blame it on Dale because he's the one who published. So anyway, he's not here, so that's rude, and throwing him under the bus is not okay because Dale does a ton of work, and we would not be where we are today with this call without Dale. And so appreciation post for Dale. We love you, Dale. We missed you today. With that being said, though, I will tell you something I did very, very maybe not smart, was register for my AI specialist exam the day after Chicago World Tour. So I've got about 2 weeks to get my studying like underway and handled. I've done all the things, but I should be fine, but that doesn't mean I will be fine because my brain has to like recalculate all the vocabulary and make sure that my product knowledge is up to speed with where the test is, which may or may not be where we are today. So I need to make sure we have all that figured out because I don't think the test gets updated as quickly as the naming conventions for the products gets updated.
Oh, that's definitely true.
Yes. So does anyone taken the specialist that's on the call?
I'm taking it next week, I think.
Fantastic. Russo, you took it, the specialist. How'd you do? You pass with flying colors or you by the skin of your teeth?
Yeah, but like a lot of the questions were horrible on it. Like they were wrong and inaccurate and outdated when I took it. And I took it the day it was released.
Right. There's been a lot of changes since it was released. And so that's been
They won't let me retake it, I asked.
Why would you you passed it, you said?
I know, but I wanted to take it to see what the new one was. I tried to see.
That's like a recipe for cheating, Andrew.
Crazy high score too. Like I could have sworn he posted that like on Twitter with the percentages, and I was like,
"No, it's okay."
Who cares about the percentages? A pass is a pass.
That's right.
I know, but sometimes it's fun to see it.
Just like D's get degrees, it's all good.
Can I ask a quick question? How many people, when you take your exams, do them proctored or like at home?
I go because of the dog. But there's a lot of folks
I go
that
because
swear
no
by
one
being
believes
home.
that is a door in front of my office.
I ask because I like them in person. Like I like to go to a proctor for a variety of reasons. Mainly, I just hate dealing with. Well, you've seen my office. There's no way they're ever going to approve that area. But I'm curious if anybody's dealt with this. My local area, Criterion, the offices are like closing, they're rescheduling on me. Like we used to have like 5 and now there's 1 and one's kind of in a sketchy part of the city. And I'm like, what's happening with the testing centers? Anybody
Well,
dealing with that?
I actually go to the local junior college, and so it's the community college, and so it's not
But Joy, you're
that
in an
much of an
area
issue.
where there are a lot of testing centers,
Yeah.
no matter
I
what.
am.
So where
I
I'm
am.
at, we had to, the one only opens 1 day a month, 1 day a month. And only between like the hours of 9 and 2, which means I can never take it. The other one is clear across town.
Mhm.
And what I don't like about that testing center is they have no lockers, and they literally have a sign, you are only allowed to bring your ID into the building, period. Everything else must stay in your car.
Which is crazy because the Criterion contract says there will be a locker. I've had that problem too. So
It does. And they don't have it. They won't provide it. They literally then take a bag and have you write your name on it and put your key to your car in it.
Oh my
Well,
God.
I mean, the bag is the locker, and
Yeah,
so
but that's not
I no, I agree. It's a wild thing, and so you walk in with literally like a key to your car, and your
your
ID,
So
and your
my
credit card
key
for that
is my
second
phone.
signature.
My car key is my phone. So I can't leave my phone in my car. So I have to
Mhm.
have that debate
So
every time too.
the other thing I do is I schedule my tests when I travel to a larger city. So if I'm going to Chicago, I schedule to take it when I get there,
That's
or
smart.
I literally tell my boss I need to go down to where the university is. That's a 2-hour drive. I'm going to go overnight. You're paying for my room. I'm taking the test then.
All right. Kathy, you had your hand up. Did you want to share something? Oh,
No,
So, yeah,
I was just like you. It's like I'd rather do it in person, but the close testing center near me isn't available anymore, and everything else is more than an hour away. And once the weather starts going lousy, who the hell wants to drive anywhere
Yeah.
more than
So
2 feet?
what's the win to get to do the online testing? Like I've heard people taking the test in their bathrooms, and I'm like, whoa, that's crazy.
No, you don't have to
I
do
actually
that.
have a little corner. I've made up a little corner in. It's
We can't
unpacked at the
see
moment.
like what your room looks
Yeah, I
like, Kathy,
know,
because you've got this fantastic background.
I know. I'd much rather be there. But anyway, no, I actually have basically did a corner that's by my window with a screen around it, so it's all blank, and then I basically cover my desk up with a black sheet, and that's my testing thing. And in fact, my husband used it when he did one of his too.
So that actually sounds really smart. So you just cover your desk with all except for your laptop with whatever.
No,
and
I'm
then
actually on a separate little table in the corner. Like it's
Okay.
in the
Yeah.
corner off over there. Like I said, it's not set up right now because
right.
we did have a guest in the room, so we sort of let them have some light.
Yeah.
I
But
will
yeah.
say,
Take your laptop into a different room so there's nothing behind you, because they'll interrupt you right when you're in the middle of a thought and
Yeah.
say, "Hey, what's this little thing on your shelf over there?" type of thing.
Is that a
Like
recording device? No, it's not. No, actually.
No,
it's
and
like
that's
a
why
little
that's
sculpture,
why
type of
yeah,
thing.
that's why
So,
I have a black sheet
Would you like to see my
that we
glasses?
cover.
They help me see the text.
They would.
They
They would.
actually
On
do
question
that.
3, they would
Yes.
like to see your glasses. Not at the beginning.
No. 10, question 10.
Yeah.
I
So-
take mine in my kitchen. I have I take it in the kitchen. I have this movable table that
Mhm.
I just clear everything off of it. But right behind it is my refrigerator, which has a white face to it. So I just take it in the kitchen. My desk, oh my God, it doesn't
Yeah.
work.
I will say some of our local libraries have offered space for people taking tests where they will secure the room and you can put up a sign. So there's that option. And I have reached out in the past to partners in the area who have agreed that I could use space in their facility that they have set up for their employees to test, that they will let
Mhm.
local community members also use that space to take exams.
So
Am I
sounds-
crazy
than
that I've never had
travel-
a bad experience? Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. No, Andrew, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
just gonna say, I've never had a crazy experience. Like I have water bottles on the table. Like I was sick one
You
time
just
blowing
wait,
my nose
Andrew.
taking it. Like
You just wait.
they've stopped me for a water bottle and I'm like, I'm gonna drink water. Like I'll take the label off so it's not like they're not trying to, but like I have zero cares. Like I just will take it where like on the island in the kitchen where I just don't have paper on like the table.
Mhm.
And I've never had like the worst experience was at Dreamforce in the hotel with the Wi-Fi. That was the only problem I've had is Wi-Fi issues.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm like crazy. I would hate to go take it in person though. Like I'm not doing that in person.
My first in person was really wild because there was 2 cameras on me and I was in a glass box with a piece of paper, with 2 pieces of paper and a pencil and the computer. That was the first time I took a test, and it was wild, and it's okay. And none of them have been like that since, because I go to the community college and I'm in a bigger glass box with more people. It's great.
Yeah. Well,
So my
the
question, I
thing I
guess,
hate
is
about going to the community college is that their stuff is kind of like dirty. Like the keyboard is dirty. And I'm like, I don't want to touch that dirty mouse and the keyboard, you know? So
Can I wear a rubber glove to touch the mouse? That'd be great.
exactly. Exactly.
Can I have
mean,
some alcohol wipes to clean off the station? That'd be great.
so I tell you what, so I've probably taken 25 proctored exams.
Mhm.
Not a brag, just what I'm getting at is without from a positive response, why should I be doing it at home? Like, what is the value other than the trip time? Like, should I just get over myself, or is like, I mean, give me like a reason why I should just take them at home.
So
you know, people.
psychologically, being in the same space where you studied should increase your recall.
Okay.
All right.
I hate people. I don't want to go sit in a room with a bunch of
That's
other
a
people.
negative. We're not talking to you anymore, Andrew.
No,
Stop.
listen, no, it's not negative though. I don't want to have other people finishing their test at a different time than me because I'm sitting there taking it and they're taking a different test or whatever. And there's distractions. Like if I don't know they're taking a different test, so I'm like, they finished and I'm not done yet. I need to be done. Like all of that makes it for someone with ADHD.
So okay, so let me say
Everybody
back to
has
you.
their
So
own
that
triggers.
the benefit is that you are isolated from everyone else, so you can't be interrupted by everybody else's test taking.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. All right, I love that. That's not bad.
I agree with
scheduling.
Andrew in the sense, but I still like to take it. But I was in that condition what Andrew had, where you had like a bunch of people that probably all taking different tests,
Mm-hmm.
and you know there could be distractions. And you know, I know the first time when I was taking a test, psychologically, I knew there was an advantage when they put you down in the chair and the chair is lower than the screen, and it's kind of like, whoa, you know, you're kind of I rotated the chair up and was able to face that chair where I'm staring right at it instead of having to look up. The next time I took the following exam, the chair was fine, everything was fine, but I was in a crowded room with other people, and I finished, and I know I probably freaked people out because I was like, yeah, you know, because I got this, you know, it'll come
Pass.
Up, yeah, and I'm like, sorry.
Yeah. All right.
I hope that didn't freak anybody out, but that's, you know, that could happen.
Yeah. I mean, and I think Pat, your comment, but also, I mean, I know I've dealt with it too, is like I assume that there's also comfort in like I'm not sitting at a gross chair or a poorly set up desk. You know everything's exactly how you want it before you sit down. Okay, I like that.
This goes along with travel time, but I think the scheduling is more flexible. You could take it at like, I don't know, there's like 2 a.m. or whatever. Like,
Right, because I think I mean, it's international timing. It's not.
yeah.
Yes.
So whatever your brain is best primed for test taking, you can do it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Most of my
Alright.
tests I'd take, like I schedule and take within 30 minutes for me.
Yeah, so
Like-
the not having to schedule long beforehand. I literally had an employee take an exam and send me results like that morning, and I was like, wait, we only talked about you taking this like yesterday.
That's fantastic.
Most of mine I do that because I just look when I feel ready, it's like impulsive decision. Let's just go take it. Like
And here I am,
plan it out.
suggesting people say, you know, schedule your test ahead of time to commit to like studying and do the thing. And I mean, whatever works for you.
Yeah.
On the opposite end of the spectrum, like I've taken most of mine at Dreamforce because I'm a cheapskate and I don't get, my company doesn't pay for tests. So I'm like years ahead. I'm like, okay, next year at Dreamforce, I'm going to take this test.
Yes.
What's the setup like for, like, if I take it
For at
home?
events?
No,
Or
for
at
like,
home?
so if I schedule, what am I setting myself up for? Like, I need to have what and where, and what are they going to ship me a camera? Do I have to be sitting in my underwear? Like, what are we talking
Whoa,
about?
whoa. Come on.
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
No,
I don't know
no,
what's going
It
on.
changed during COVID.
No, you just need to have for your laptop to have a camera, or you can have a external camera, but it's gotta be, I don't know about the external camera. I've never taken it like that. I've always taken it on my laptop with my camera on my laptop. And then you just download some software onto there and
So you have to be able to install. So you wouldn't do it on like a work laptop or something.
you can
Not
do it
one
on
that,
the-
not one that you're restricted, Squire, not yours.
right.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
IT,
Mine-
then
I
can't even
like,
use
restricts
Slack,
your
yeah.
ability to download.
Not yours.
Yeah.
'Cause
Um,
it'll
Yeah, if you
it'll
can't
it'll like
use
lock up
Slack.
all of your stuff. Like
Okay.
I have like a multi-monitor like setup, and like if I download and I take a test, it will like literally turn off the second monitor and like lock you into like the one monitor situation.
Got
Yeah,
it.
it used to be that
Here's
you had to have
here's the help article on taking
Right.
your exam remotely. But go ahead, Sarah, sorry.
I was just gonna say, it used to be you had to have an external webcam
Camera.
so they could like look at you, but
Yeah.
during
So you could
COVID,
show
they-
them the room. That was,
Yeah,
I
that's
think
right.
Oh,
that I
they
believe,
still ask you.
Well,
No, not
during
me.
COVID, they got laxer, and I don't know if they got stricter again.
No.
But-
They got a little stricter, but
Okay.
honestly, in the last year, I mean, I've had to take my laptop, which is like tied in, because I plug mine into the internet just so the Wi-Fi doesn't crash on me in the middle of the thing. But I've had to pick it up while it's all tied in and go, ooh, here's my.
I've never
So
had
yeah,
to
so they
do
make
that.
you walk the
And then
room or
then
something?
they say you should have your phone with you, and I'm going, but the help article says my phone has to be in another room. I leave my phone in my bedroom. Like,
Yeah,
That must
they-
be Canada. That must be Canada, because I took what, AI special or AI associate like 2
oh
months.
no, this was like last year or the year before.
Oh, no,
in the
no.
in the last year, this past year, I don't think I've been asked for anything.
so
And
I
I've
will,
had to do the glasses thing. I've had to
Yeah.
show under my desk. I've had to show around. And like I said, I just stopped. And you're not supposed to have your extra monitors plugged in.
yeah,
right,
the biggest like difference in my experience is when they're asking all these things, they will literally pause your test in the middle of it. You'll be going along doing your thing, and all of a sudden it'll pop up this window and be like, "Hey, you need to do a thing," and you'll be like, and
Yeah.
that's the biggest
Oh.
annoyance.
Interesting.
And,
And
and
that's really different.
One proctor actually told me during an exam, when I think the last time they wanted to check my glasses, is if you're thinking, and I tend to, look up into my, like, into my brain.
Yep.
They say, close your eyes.
Oh.
So they don't think you're looking at something that might be written on the ceiling that they haven't looked
Yeah.
at.
Yeah.
The
And a
other
proctor,
thing I
and a
will,
proctor told me that one.
Huh,
I
that's good
will,
advice.
I feel like too, some of it might be luck of the draw on who's proctoring for you when you're online. Like different people
Yeah.
have different expectations and different experiences that they're going to apply to that situation.
What about
I
the
would-
exam? Is it different by exam?
No.
It
No.
why it shouldn't be, but one of the things that happened in the last few months or maybe in the last year was that you have the ability to take notes online while you're taking the online test while it's at home. There's like a notes window. Has anyone seen this recently?
I will say when
Yeah.
I took the associate exam, there was the little box, which I tend to use to, if I think someone's going to mark it as wrong, I tend to put my justification for my answers in.
Well, Linda, that's good that you do that, because let me just tell you, the people that work on the certification exams hear about some of these notes. Say that from experience.
The thing
The-
is, if you take it, remember, if you take it at home or not at a testing site. You don't get the paper and the pencil.
Right, but that's what they created this notes situation with the proctored exams, with the online at home
Yeah.
proctored exams, because of that. Because there was a lot of feedback about that. Because, like, you know, if I'm going through this thing and I want to come back to it, how do I capture my thoughts about this so that I can think about it, marinate on it, and then come back to it without having like something to write it down? And really, this this notes situation that they have with the testing should eliminate the need for paper at the testing sites. I know, Pat, I said the same thing. Like, I don't want it to go away. However, it could possibly exit the space eventually. Let's see. David, are you admiring the swag walls? Because they're all over the place. You know, we all have them, and you're gonna have to build yours up, Dave. Like, that's all. You just have to build them up. Like, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
I can
But
tell you that I'd have to take that all down if I was going to test from here, and that would not be fun.
Right. No,
Yeah.
no, it's not. We have about 4 minutes left. So does anyone have any other questions about the things? No.
Is
I
everyone
do
excited for Agent Force 2.0?
I mean, I've got a lot going on in my head about Agent
No,
Force
I'm
right
just
now.
saying like the next one. We're already on to the next one.
Phase 2, like phase
December,
2.
there was an announcement today, an email, December 17th, Agent Force
They're
2.0.
launching the
Yes,
next version.
Squire can't take the test in his room.
No, I cannot.
That's a very impressive collection, Squire.
That's just
Yeah.
what we play. I've got a whole other area of stuff that I'm just disappointed that I purchased. So
Yeah, well, that goes with the territory.
Why don't you donate those somewhere?
Or
I'm
sell
sorry?
them,
Why
sell
don't you
them,
donate
donate
to
them. Yeah.
disappointments?
well, you know what? I do a lot of donating and a lot of like underselling to try to, like, my board game theme is play it and then it's immediately half price because I got my joy out of it, and sell it to someone else, and then at some point then it gets just donated. Yeah.
It's
I
fantastic.
wasn't making a judgment. I was just saying, hey,
No, you're right. I love it. It's smart. Honestly, I wish we had a place local that I could donate that I didn't feel like they were just going to then turn around and sell it or throw it away. So
Yeah,
this is the
Homeless shelters, women's
see, I don't
shelters.
have anything like that really nearby.
Well, Squire,
There-
you just send Linda on like a rabbit hole task and she'll find it for you.
Yeah.
There was a question, Michael. There is a board game day at Dreamforce, I believe. It usually is the same night as the concert because there's folks that are like, yeah, I'm not going to go to the concert, but I want to do a thing. And so you can, you know, you ask around, you'll find it. I'm not
Michael
sure.
usually runs it, right?
Klodner,
Yeah, Michael Klodner usually
Klodner.
runs it in
Free,
the.
free like a puppy, nonprofit, Michael.
Yeah, I've started
Um,
bringing games to
mhm.
almost every conference.
Yeah.
A deck of cards goes a long way. So with that, we are at time. So thank you everybody for joining us. We'll see you in 2 weeks after I take my test, and after, it's the day I take my test. So I will be sad or happy depending on how that goes, I suppose, or maybe I'll just be relieved that it's over, because that seems to be a common theme. That's it, friends. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Good luck, Joy.
Thank you. Thank you. I got to start
Bye.
studying again because I studied and then I didn't. And now I got to
Yeah.
like remember it all again. So
Me
bye,
too. Maybe,
friends.
maybe I'll book it for the same day.
Bye-bye.
We can commiserate together.
9 a.m. Central, Kathy. Come on. All right.
Alrighty.
All right. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
See ya.
Bye, friends.